Thank you to everyone joining us today from across the country and around the world. I'm Michael Higgs, Program Specialist here at Conscious Capitalism, Inc. On behalf of the entire CCI team, we appreciate you taking time to grow and learn in community with us today. Today, we're joined by CEO of Zen Business, Ross Buhrdorf. Ross is here today to share his insights about helping businesses thrive, making work for all of us, and how technology can help create a generation of entrepreneurs. As many of you know, conscious capitalism is a philosophy that emphasizes the human spirit of business, as well as a movement of business leaders from around the world working to change the practice and perception of capitalism as a means to elevate humanity. Conscious Capitalism, Inc. is a nonprofit organization dedicated to catalyzing that movement by creating learning opportunities like today's session and building systems of support for practicing conscious capitalists through our senior leader network. Several times a month, we're offering these virtual gatherings as a way for the community to see how this philosophy takes shape in the leadership journeys and business practices of those in our network. Today's gathering will run for about 45 minutes. Ross will share his presentation with us for about 25, and then we'll transition to audience questions during the last 15 to 20 minutes of our session. Please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to as many of your questions as we can during our time together. If you have any technical questions or issues, please email us at info@consciouscapitalism.org. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker. Today, we're excited to be joined by Ross Buhrdorf, the CEO and founder of Zen Business, Inc. He was the founding CTO of HomeAway and used his technology to build that company from a startup through the IPO to its recent acquisition by Expedia for $3.9 billion. In more than 30 years as a technology leader, entrepreneur, and C-level corporate executive in both public and private companies, Ross helps transform the way consumers interact with technology. Ross is also a member of Conscious Capitalism's Senior Leader Network. Ross, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and experience with us. I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Michael. I'm humbled to be here, and I hope I can do a good job that matches up to that fantastic introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, which is always the hardest part of the technology. What are you guys seeing? Are you seeing change the world?
Yeah, we see it, Ross. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks for inviting me here today. You know, I put this slide up. This is actually one of the slides I put up to raise money. We do this. We use this slide also on when we introduce we have an onboarding process for all of our employees. And, you know, the reason I put this up here is the company really is about changing the world. And we think conscious capitalism is certainly a part of that. And we believe in the philosophies and are great supporters of it. The reason we put this slide up is not out of hubris, but really out of humility. We're in contact with our customers all the time. And in a recent survey, we asked them a couple questions. The first question was, why'd you take this brave leap into entrepreneurs? We support entrepreneurs as part of our product. I'll get into in a second. And we got 3 surprising answers, the top answers from our customer base. Number 1 is that they wanted to change their life. Number 2, they wanted to change the amount of money that they make for themselves and their family. And number 3, they want to change the world. So we were very thrilled to have a customer base that's inspired and really wants to make a difference in the world. What forced us to put this slide up is the second question. We asked them, do you believe Zen Business can help you on that journey? And we got an overwhelming 89.9% of our customers said yes, that they believe that we could help them on their journey. The reason I bring this up, and we'll go through the product here a little bit and what we do, and then I'll tie it back into culture and a lot of the conscious capitalism principles. So we're firm believers, certainly within conscious capitalism, but outside of it, is that culture plus people plus product equal brand. And so this really is this virtual cycle of what we do in the company, what we do in the world, and how it really affects the bottom line for the company. we absolutely believe that brand equals trust, that when people make a decision to use a product or service, they're really looking at that trusted brand is the key. What we do, what problem we solve in the world is getting a small business up and running is super difficult. And when you look at the segment of our customer base, it's what we call the long tail segment of the SMB market. These are the single person companies, the solopreneur businesses. These are all of the people you read about every day that are the great resignation. Starting a business is super hard. It's complicated, it's confusing, and it can be super expensive. And this customer base, these newly formed businesses, they really need our help. Our goal, we're a public benefits corp, and our goal or our mission is to help these people take that brave leap into small business ownership by providing them everything they need to turn their idea into a money-making business. We basically, our thesis is we have your back. You know, you go out with your trade or your product, your service, and we'll handle everything else for you. You can count on us. We're that trusted partner. The thing that early on in listening to our customers that resonated with them and resonates today is they really want this service. They want this one-stop shop solution that we provide so they can go out and push their craft, service, or product. It's a huge market. You can't read anywhere in the press. It's coming out daily. The Great Resignation. More and more folks are turning their side hustle into a full-time job, and we're really riding that wave. The other thing I'll say here, and I put this stuff up here to really motivate that what we do actually turns into the bottom line. We've had fantastic revenue growth from a startup point of view. We're headed to $100+ million a year in exiting ARR this year. So it really does make a difference at what you do as a company on the bottom line. We also have the best service and support. So Bain Research did research on us, and one of the things that they confirmed that we thought to be true was that our customer NPS is greater than all of our adjacent competitors combined. So, you know, this focus on the customer and this focus on our culture really makes a difference as far as the product and what people perceive as the product and the brand. Product vision really is this single application that we bring to bear for our customer base. They come in for formation, compliance and legal, finance, and customer acquisition. Again, I'm coming back to this culture plus people plus product equals brand, and really comes to this brand equals trust. We believe that you can't separate the product from the culture, you know, from the people, and that really ultimately, you know, comes to bear in the brand. So, you know, we believe that it starts with, you know, some of the things that we do is, you know, you want to really treat your team great. And, you know, if you treat that customer great or your team great, then they treat the customer great. And this really comes to bear in the you know, not only in the engineers that build the product and the designers and the marketers, you know, every person on the team is treated as the first order customer within the company. And then that really translates out into the actual customer in the marketplace. All of our team members have stock. So we distribute stock across the whole of the company base. And we even, you know, as far as the mounts, this is a pretty radical idea. Our goal is to make every single employee a millionaire when we take this public at a certain valuation, of course, but that's really our goal. So we want to make sure that everyone's invested in the company, and we do that by providing them all with stock. We spend a lot of time in supporting our team. So, you know, we have company meetings every week, a 30-minute meeting where we share all of the essential KPIs of the business. We'll have a special presentation, but I present and all the major leaders present of what's going on in the company. We have a extensive training program for all of the new people. A big part of our business is customer success and engineering, but we onboard everybody the same way. And in the onboarding, it's a 2-hour onboarding for each class that comes in. I start and do usually a 45-minute presentation. We introduce everybody. We get to know everybody that comes in the incoming class. Our COO is also there and the head of HR. So we really do a very welcoming onboarding. And then we spend weeks of training in customer success. We're 100% transparent. So we firmly believe that for as we are with our customers too, 100% transparent, that we have to be 100% transparent with our employees too. So we share all of the critical information that many companies don't share. We share it. I get it over and over again from our employee base. Wow, I've never been in a company that shared everything. We do that on a weekly basis. So, in the old days, we actually used to even share how much money was in the bank. No one cares anymore, but we even went down to that level. And we have a firm belief that this open environment and sharing everything really empowers people, and information is empowering for the employee base to make decisions on their own and to know what we're up against and what our challenges are or opportunities. We have less than a 1% monthly turnover. So this is really phenomenal in a environment right now where folks are struggling to get employees. We have such a low turnover rate, and this is our overall turnover rate. So a lot of these people, or a percentage of these people, we wanted to leave also at the company. So this is really a phenomenally low level, and I think it has to do with referrals from customers. We pay a lot of attention to data at the company, and one of the things that we pay attention to is we use a SaaS-based solution, and on a monthly basis, it generates a survey for all of our customers to do an internal employee NPS. We have a score of 65. That is world-class with respect to companies where the highest standard is 45, and we're 20 points above that. So we're very proud of it. It's really an indication, again, of listening to our employees and paying attention to what is working and what's not working for them. We have great referrals from our customers, and we also have great referrals from our employee. Again, I'll use a stat in that it just in the last few months, we've started to advertise on Indeed and other websites for customer success people. Prior to that, we had a waiting list of people that wanted to come work for us in the customer success department via referrals. And I think this is really telling and makes me feel good about the company, that one of the frontline positions, we have customer success, we have sales, and we consider engineering, product, also part of that. But those interacting with the customer base, those people, love it here. And they love it here because we treat them great. We provide great benefits and salaries, and we provide them great tools. And we listen to them. And, it comes back to this belief, or this whole cycle of, culture plus people, plus the product really create this trusted brand. And in order to have this trusted brand, you have to trust your people. You have to show that. You have to display that in the actions that you do on a daily basis. And then lastly, we're completely staffed where, other companies are struggling, and we've been really fast growing. We're at over 500 employees. We've had very, very rapid growth, and, people pay attention to how the other people feel and the team feels in the company. And I think it shows in the interviewing, it shows in the way we onboard people, it shows in the product, and it also shows, in our customer NPS also. Let me get to the next slide. Oh, no. And, it shows in, I mean, I had to put this Mark Cuban slide up here also. Mark is our spokesperson for the company. And we didn't do this, on a whim. Let's go get some famous person that can be the spokesperson of the company. We really considered who would be a great spokesperson, who would represent the brand, who's a trusted, spokesperson out there in the marketplace. And Mark was at the top of the list. We approached him. We, showed him the product, showed him the culture, showed him what we're doing. And, he's completely bought into it, uses it on his companies. And we couldn't be happier about the relationship. But this is really part of that whole cycle of, you can't just do one piece of the puzzle in a vacuum. You have to do all of them. And I think conscious capitalism really represents that holistic view. You have to treat your people great. You have to trust them. And we couldn't be happier to have Mark on board. And I think one of the reasons he was on board is because of the trusted brand. And he did the reference checks on us also. And, we also need your help to change the world. This is the slide that I do in the onboarding for all of our employees and investors, is that, this is not just one thing that the team can do. We need the whole world to be a part of our solution, either by them being customers or by them, being references for the brand.
You may not realize it, but anyone can launch a successful business. You can choose to do something you love. You can live with purpose and meaning. And Zen Business can help you turn an idea into the business of your dreams. Step by step, by your side at every turn. You can earn enough and change your life. You too can be Zen. Zen Business, the easiest and fastest way to successfully launch and run your own business.
That's the talking part of the deck here, Michael.
Well, fantastic, Ross. I was aware of Mark Cuban being a spokesperson.
Oh, you weren't aware, or you were?
I was aware, and
okay.
As a fan, yeah, it's remarkable that he's chosen to align with you and speak on behalf of your offering. I do want to let the audience know that again, if you want to ask any questions of Ross, please use the Q&A feature. You can find that along the bottom of the Zoom interface here. So feel free to put your questions there. Ross, I'll go ahead and lead off with a question that I have. A lot of people have great ideas, but actually turning those ideas into money-making ventures, is entirely another thing. So in your experience, in seeing so many different small business ventures sort of launch under your umbrella, what would you say is the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs in those early stages of creating a business?
Yeah, Michael, it's a great question. And I get asked that one a lot. I think not only the advice I give folks, but what I see as far as the failure, the number one reason that companies fail is because their business doesn't fulfill a need in the market, their service or their product. So they miss the mark on the product. Nobody wants to buy it, or nobody wants to use that service. Of course, the number two reason is that they run out of money. so those are the top two reasons. So the advice I give everyone, and I think it's it seems obvious, but it's not obvious because it can be scary to do this, is early on in my career and still even at Zen Business today, we are constantly talking with the customer. We are constantly getting feedback. And so any early entrepreneur, they should be focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's getting that customer to buy their product or their service. That should be their singular focus. All of the other issues, the issues of scaling and marketing and all that stuff, that comes later. Like early on, you should be focused on, does someone want to pay me? Is someone willing to give me their credit card for this product or service? And so I think this really is this thesis of, do what your customer is asking. You most certainly have to have some vision, of course, with your idea. But, once you have your idea, you need to get it out in the market and test it and, dogmatically go after seeking the truth is what I talk, you can't lie to your customers forever. And so, that's really, again, with the whole conscious capitalism and what I pitched in this deck, we're very much focused on the customer. What do they want? Being transparent with them and translating that also into our employee base.
And is your recommendation to aggregate that customer, those, let's call them testimonials or even feedback, maybe testimonials a little too specific, but what mechanisms, surveying, rubbing elbows and.
Yeah, I think we do all of the above. We're a much bigger company now, but early on we would, put up the website. We'd put up a couple, half a dozen websites trying different things. And, we would try to get their phone number, their email. And if they would convert, we'd call them up. If they didn't convert, we'd call them up. I mean, there was plenty of surprised individuals like, I just, put my email or my phone number in the website. This is spook. You guys are freaking me out. And we'd say, no, and we'd explain, hey, we're a young company. We need help. Tell us what you liked about the experience. Why didn't you buy, et cetera, et cetera. And many times they would turn into sales calls. But, what was most important was just to get that early feedback. And, I'm always amazed at how many entrepreneurs, for whatever reason, it's scary to call people. It's problematic, because you actually have to talk to them. But that's where you really get the direct feedback. Now, once we got bigger, we would do surveys and we'd ask all kinds of questions and respond to the surveys, and the answers just lead to more questions, and then you get more answers. So it's just that fundamentally for me is that what I see folks fail at is they have a good idea. Now they have a good idea, but they've got some idealized customer or some idealized pricing that the market won't support for whatever reason. They need to figure out that reason and seek that truth. Now, a lot of our businesses are service-based businesses, and the majority of them. And now those, in many of those cases, a lot of these folks are like, maybe they're working for somebody else, or they've done this in the past, or this is a side hustle. So they already kind of have traction. 30% of our customers come to us with revenue already before they use us for for the back office and financial services, everything. So, many people already have a going concern, and really they use us to broaden that concern, get more customers and grow.
So that old adage of take it to the phones, there's a lot to be learned.
Yep. I mean, even today, we're still on the phone with new products. Why didn't you convert? What was wrong? What was the holdup? And there's nothing, what amazes me too, Michael, is that there's some misconceptions or myths out there that like, oh, I have to be a big company. I have to survey 10,000 people and, I'm going to have to get some, statistically significant, Hell, I don't even know what any of that statistically significant stuff means. I pretend I don't know it. I guarantee you, if you talk to 5 customers, you will get a consistent pattern. They will tell you. If you talk to 10, it will be guaranteed what the pattern is. So you can get any answer with 10 people.
There you
of your
go.
customer.
Conversation leads to insights, right?
Oh yeah.
All you need to know.
Yeah, all you need to know. So it's just.
I want to jump to a second question, I was inspired by your philosophy of trust within the organization, Ross, and that sort of being one of your foundations or pillars. And Judy's asking, in the spirit of that, how much financial info do you share with your team? And I'm going to assume that that's across the organization. And do you get to the point of sharing salaries?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good, I love it. This is the problem when I'm writing a book about trust. And this is the problem when you use that title in there, then everybody always calls you on stuff and you're like, oh shit, I didn't think they were really going to call me on that. So and my employee base does this all the time when there's some perception that maybe we're not doing the right thing. We share everything except salaries. And I will tell you, we spent a lot of time on making sure that our salary bands and our salary levels are equitable across the board. So whether you're an entry-level person or you're the CEO, there's a very structured salary base. So we do have this belief that we should be able to put our salary structure on the wall in front of the copy machine, and everyone no one would say, oh my God, John's making more than, Mary, or Mary's making more than John. We're very, very conscious of making it fair and equitable. And at our company, we are 46% and growing. We just hired an executive, a female executive, but we're 46% female run, and that is director and above. Mm-hmm. And we're about 50-50 just in females in the company.
Yeah, one of the things, Ross, I was in just doing some research, for whatever validity you want to give to Glassdoor. One of the top, I would say, in summary, the comments speak to the great compensation packages and the equity that you just shared. Again, whether you make that information public internally, it does have ways of getting out. So, Glassdoor is sort of used for people to speak about, I'm an employee, what experience am I having?
Yeah, and we do those. This year we had a good increase for everybody. We all know the job market is moving and it's very, very aggressive. I mean, we were very public. Hey, people are getting raises. We're putting out the raises there, and again, we're very transparent about making darn sure that we're equitable across the board, and there's no special treatment. So i.e. we could put it in front of the copy machine is our goal.
Yeah.
But everything, Michael, everything else, I mean, people come in, on a regular basis to the company and they can't believe, we show everything. Mm-hmm. Now, if it becomes a problem, it's also, this is the beauty of having this trusted environment. I'm a trusting guy, and I'm a gentle guy, and what comes along with that is I have strong reactions to dishonesty or the opposite of gentleness, and so we don't tolerate that. So I think it's a dual-edged sword. Hey, everybody's in on it, don't break the trust. And so I think you really have to treat everybody as adults. That doesn't mean that everyone acts like an adult, but you have to be prepared for that. We share our employees at all levels, know exactly what the revenue is, how many customers we converted last week, all the critical KPIs. We all share the same corporate goals, and we're all bonused at the same percentages across the board, and that's all up for display.
Wow. Ross, in the spirit of trust, obviously it's philosophy that you've really embraced at Zen Business. For entrepreneurs that are just starting out and maybe have some concerns about vulnerability and sharing, and maybe there's even a fear about that culture, building a culture of trust, what are a few steps that you might recommend leaders take to kind of embrace or orient towards that culture of trust, that building that within their organizations?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with your first, the first question, which is, hey, what's the biggest failure of companies? And I think it's, you've got to, be trustworthy. You've got to seek the truth. The sooner you figure out what your customers want, the sooner you figure out how you add value to them, the quicker you make money, the better, the company is, the better the experience is. And so, trust and truth are tied together. And so, I would say that, I'd challenge folks on entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, especially, of like, what are you afraid of? It's really an artificial fear. And I will also say, if we, at a deeper level, that you have to be careful as an entrepreneur to make sure that your foibles as an individual don't translate into the leadership of the company. So, for example, with me, pretty much everybody, well, I'm not pretty much, everyone at the company, knows, I don't try to hide my foibles. I mean, I'm not out there wearing them. I said, if you need to know anything serious about any of my character defects, you can talk to my wife. She's got a list of them, but she still loves me anyhow. So I think that, this, being genuine and not trying to protect, I mean, it's a classic example. We're sitting around the staff meeting, and some individuals trying to protect their soft spot. Everybody knows what their soft spot is already. What are you trying to protect? And so we don't have that at the company. I mean, we try to avoid that at the company at kind of all levels, and we make it a safe place to work. And that starts at the top with me. So if I don't act vulnerable, and trust me, some of the people at my company I've worked with for 30 years, and they call me out on it publicly, and I'm like, oh God, why did I hire that person? But it's and I know why I hired that person, because I can trust that they're going to keep me honest. And so, I think it's about, honesty, trust, and, the goal of a startup is to build value. And I think a goal in the world is to build value in the world. And the faster you can do that, and the more honest way you can do that, the better. And we see that. And here's the thing that gets me right now, and why I so love conscious capitalism. We have new employees that come to the company, and we have this thing that we do via Slack where we meet with the employees. It randomly pairs you up with employees for 15 minutes every week. An application that sits on top of Slack. And over I get like, I didn't know a company existed like this. I can't believe that this exists. Or I'll talk to other folks. And, I think of that, and maybe it's me just because I'm crazy or wacky. I think this is the most efficient, fastest way, cost-effective, best way to do it. And I just don't, I mean, I hope we're past the days of, imprisoning people at work and taking advantage of them. There's, I live in Austin, Texas. There is, clearly there's no shortage of money with Elon Musk in town, and, I mean, it's just, there's plenty of wealth out there. I think we can multiply it by, bringing the team along that really is responsible for what we do. So we just really have to show leadership. So I would challenge new entrepreneurs to, even if they're uncomfortable, to do it.
I like it. Maybe starting with authenticity of self, and then that you're broadcasting that into the organization and the people that you lead. Thanks for that insight, Ross, and your framing of that. I want to jump to a specific question from an anonymous attendee, and they're asking, how does Zen Business support entrepreneurial businesses securing seed funding? Is that something that?
Yeah, so what we do during the pandemic, we gave out grants. So the pandemic hit, and, early on we were panicked like everybody else. And, then, it got into April and May, and business was booming because more and more people were forming businesses, and either out of necessity or really using this as a reason to do that. So we created a grant program where we would give $1,000 grants to companies. Now, it was a modest effort, but it made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. And we had a committee that was made up of employees across the whole of the company that would select, these grantees. We're doing the same thing now. We're launching a campaign to do that. We have a grant program. In the next 30 days, we'll be putting out a lot of press around that, both on all of the marketing channels and on national TV about our grant program. So that's one way we do that. And we're also on our roadmap of products is to provide lending alternatives to companies. It really is difficult for companies of our size. One of their biggest issues is getting startup money. So we think one of the grants is one way we can do it. And then also by providing a lending, again, on the sense of truth, lending that is at great rates. So we're big proponents of, we aggregate solutions for our customers. So we kind of buy in bulk, so we can get better prices for our customers. We believe, or the product we're building around lending, we believe that we're also doing that. Because honestly, the way most of our customers get going is friends and family and angels and some level of credit.
Perfect. Thank you. Want to take a question from Daniel, who's a founder of a company called Starloop. And he says, hi, Ross, congrats for landing Mark Cuban as a spokesperson. Not including introductions, what would you say is the best method to land meetings with decision makers like Mark?
Well, it's the same old story. Is I used my network and my reputation, and I said, who knows Mark? And I had to get through. He had a gatekeeper. I had to get through the gatekeeper, and I pitched the gatekeeper, and I wish I could tell you it was glamorous, but I talking to the gatekeeper, we hit it off, and I said, is Mark making you work in a shed in your backyard? And he said, yes. He said, I'm in my backyard in the pandemic, and I've turned my shed into my office. And we laughed about that. And then I got to Mark, and then I pitched Mark, and it's the same old story, you guys. He's what he is. He's authentic. He's just a regular guy. So of course we hit it off, and he'd ask some questions, and it's just, he's just great. And I think you have to be authentic. You have to be authentic with the brand, with the product, with the team. It all translates out to the customer and what you do in the world. And so it was a natural for him. And I think that's part of why we got him. He made it, he made a decision, but it was a lot of that decision was around what he didn't, he likes the company. He likes what we're doing. He thinks it's doing good in the world.
Fantastic. And again, congratulations. I mean, what a fantastic spokesperson. I want to take another question here, Ross. I believe you touched on this, but perhaps you can add a bit more. You had mentioned that most businesses fail because there isn't a product market fit.
Right.
How do you help entrepreneurs validate that product market fit? The person asking the question, it seems like a very labor intensive practice or work to find that fit. You mentioned, talking to your customers. Any other ways that come to mind?
Well, I think that it really is as simple as what I said, is to get, I mean, there's various levels of product market fit, right? So when we raised this last round of funding, raised $205 million led by Oak and SoftBank, we had the numbers that indicated a product market fit. So, their level of product market fit was, can we give this maniac some money and is he going to go make more money? And so the answer was yes to that, but they didn't, I'm charming, but I'm not that charming. That was based off of data and, analysis and cohorts and everything. So that's one level of product market fit. But here's this actually makes the point. Sometimes entrepreneurs, many times they come to me and they're looking for that level of product market fit. And I say, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Early on, get your product out there, get feedback on it, either talking to people directly or, now it's such a digital world, you can launch a bunch of websites and try to collect some contact information and, get on the phone and find out, why didn't you buy it? What's missing? Look at the analytics, constantly looking at the data on the website. But those are all just forms of talking to the customer. It's again, the sooner you do that, the better off you are. What you want to do in the world is add value. And of course, we're all smart and we had this idea. I'm not saying, blindly follow your customers. Many times they're misguided in some ways. You're supposed to be the expert, but you need to figure out what they like, what they don't like, and what they're willing to pay and what's their real need. And so I think it's just don't be shy, talk to your customers. I mean, I've spent, it seems like years on the phone talking to customers and still to this day,
Wonderful. I do want to be respectful of your time, Ross. We have 2 minutes remaining. We've got a few more questions, but we'll hold on those. But a lively discussion, the Q&A is always it's a good measure of the insights that you've offered to our participants today. So thank you. And thank you to all of our attendees for joining us today. Kim from our team has put a survey link in the chat. Please do take a moment. It's a single question, but it does help inform our future programming. If you're new to Conscious Capitalism, please visit consciouscapitalism.org for some more information about our movement, as well as the organization. That's at consciouscapitalism.org. And if you're an executive currently implementing conscious practices in your business, we invite you to explore our growing support system of like-minded and like-valued leaders, such as Ross, to our Conscious Capitalism Senior Leader Network. And you can find some more information about that. I believe Kim has put some information in the chat. And we hope to see you at another Conscious Capitalism event in the near fuar.
And Michael, I have to bust in.
Ross.
Bust in. The one thing that we do is we do an NPS constantly with our customers at whether they've been with us a day or with us 6 years. And I noticed you guys did an NPS, and so I filled it out. Just to be honest, I put a 10, and then in the comment Said, what'd you like about it? I said, Ross is good looking. So if you get that one, just know it's me.
Well, I'm gonna fill this out after Ross, and I'll give an NPS score as well. I'm gonna say great shirt. And again, Ross, thank you again for enjoying your insights. Thank you for being part of our Senior Leader Network, and to all the attendees, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon with Ross. Have a great day, everyone.